The Cassie-Zilla sequence was probably the coolest thing I've ever done.
The approach was to mimic these like 50-Foot Woman movies or old school Godzilla movies.
It was a lot of fun. It took about a year to build all the miniatures.
We had such a big team building Hollywood and downtown LA.
The details were unbelievable. There were trees and cars, and the buildings were my size.
The miniature set was all in pieces. It was like 3 or 4 bigger pieces that you could roll around. We were not turning around, we turned the set around. It was a lot of fun and a totally different approach than what we were used to.
I think for Cassie, she knows what she's chasing and what she's going to sacrifice to give herself over to Hollywood.
Cassie is always performing. Before, she was performing as the perfect little housewife, and now she's dying to break out and perform for the world. We used a lot of butterflies as a theme because I feel like she becomes so much more flamboyant when she comes out of the naked cocoon.
I've been approached by the biggest TikTok house in Los Angeles.
The relationship between Cassie and Maddie is complicated because there's a piece of them that love each other, but on the other end, what's more prominent is the toxicity.
Maddie, you're my best friend.
Really? And so I think Maddie is feeling like she needs to take the bull by the horns.
I will not let you down.
Great.
Ready, background?
Background!
And action!
This season, working in Hollywood, Lexi's got a lot of power suits.
She's broadened her mind a lot more than most of the other characters, and it's reflected in her style.
I was just strutting around the Warner Brothers stage with these platform red Gucci shoes.
Call the casting director, put Cassie on the list.
Maddie, I can't abuse my power like that. I think it's hard for Lexi to watch Cassie come on to LA Nights and take what she's made for herself.
We brought in the actual casting director from Euphoria, and it just made me really nervous, like I was actually auditioning for Euphoria.
And hang me up in chains.
She's the exact opposite of Lexi. Lexi's very neurotic and in her own head, whereas with Cassie, you see that she's completely guided by emotion and not logic.
That's your sister.
Yeah.
I absolutely love working with Maud and Sydney. I love the kinds of questions they ask me. And so it was really fun to be the grown-up working with the young, hot stars.
Congratulations, you got the fucking part.
Reset. And action.
I thought religion and spirituality was really beautifully incorporated this season. You're reading the Bible, right?
Yeah, but it's like 900 pages before he even shows up.
Don't worry, he's coming. I think these characters live in a very chaotic world, but having a bit of faith.
It all goes back to Jesus.
For Maddie grounds her, and I think she's been on her own inner quest of trying to cultivate more peace and calm in her life. I've reached a state of pure harmony.
Pardon my manners. Alamo Brown.
Maddie Perez. Maddie sees an opportunity. She's looking at his boots. She's looking at his watch. She's looking at the way that he carries himself. They're very different, but there's something that's drawing them into each other.
She ignites that passion again in him. And of course she's beautiful, and also she's well put together.
Oh yeah, I love that look. It's a Jean-Paul Gaultier set, which was one of my favorite looks. Working with Adewale was truly like a gift. He's such an incredible, thoughtful, talented performer. Working alongside him, I was able to drop in even deeper as an actress.
They're delightful together. Maddie brings out a side of him, I think, that we hadn't quite seen. Alamo's real smitten with her.
It was such an incredible sequence. My focus was trying to not fall off the horse. And that was nerve-wracking because I'd never ridden a horse in my life. trained for 6 weeks to learn how to harness this beautiful horse. And that was really important in conveying a cowboy.
Burying Zeke, that shit was wild as fuck. We had to kick dirt on her. And I'm like, you cool with this? She like, oh, yeah. Just like it was another day at the office or something. And one of the set dressers said, just make sure when you kick the dirt on her, kick her from this pile, because this the clean dirt. And I'm like, what the fuck you mean? I ain't never heard of no clean dirt before, so.
It's sort of an old Western trope, you know, we're gonna bury you up to your neck. It was a really complicated thing to pull off because we wanted to shoot it practically. So it meant that we had to build some container with a box that Zendaya can duck under in the case of an earthquake.
I had 2 stunt safeties in the hall with her with oxygen and water and anything she needed.
I handed to Z. She was a real trooper. She spent about 3 days buried up to her neck on the side of this hill. Alamo. He enjoys the hunt, and I think that that's what makes him scarier in a way, is that he wants to kind of bat the mouse around a bit before he fucking rips its head off.